Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to be going a little deeper than your typical year-end summary.
Yeah.
We're going to be exploring 2024 through the lens of Google's breakout searches.
Yeah. These
Right.
aren't just your average trending topics, you
Right.
know? These are the search terms that had like a massive surge in interest.
Yeah.
Over 5,000% more than the previous year.
5,000%. That's incredible.
It's a big jump.
Yeah, it's like we're looking at a global curiosity seismograph or something,
Exactly.
revealing the people and the events and the ideas that really captivated the world.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting when you think about it.
Yeah.
These breakout searches, they give us like a glimpse into what was really on people's minds last year.
Yeah.
You know, like their anxieties, their aspirations, the things that really matter to them.
Absolutely. So for this deep dive, we have two main sources.
Yes.
We have an explainer of Google's year-end search methodology.
Right.
And then we have a deep dive analysis that focuses on the gender breakdown of these top searches.
And I think by combining these sources,
Yeah.
we can kind of move beyond just identifying what people searched for,
Right.
but really try to understand why these topics resonated so strongly.
Absolutely. So let's start with a really quick definition.
Okay.
What exactly are breakout searches?
So these are search terms that saw a really dramatic increase in interest.
Okay.
More than 5,000% compared to the year before.
Yeah.
So it's not just like a slight uptick.
Yeah.
This is like a massive wave of interest.
Right.
And it usually indicates some sort of significant shift in public awareness or fascination.
5,000% is mind-boggling.
It is.
It really makes you wonder what triggered those massive shifts in interest.
It does. And as we kind of delve into specific categories, you'll see there's a mix of expected and unexpected trends.
Okay.
For example, we see the perennial influence of politics.
Of course.
We see the resurgence of certain music genres.
Uh-huh.
And even the global fascination with, believe it or not, a baby hippo.
A baby hippo. Okay, well, we got to talk about that later. But first, let's dive into the breakout searches by category.
Okay.
Starting with
data on the screen, numbers come alive. Male, female flows where the patterns thrive. Visual charts, public colors unify. Gender decoded, bringing truth to light. Small drum fill. We break it down, real talk. Trends unveiling facts from every block. Here's your insight, watch the data glide. Gender decoded, let the beats collide.
We're talking about the terms that saw a mind-blowing 5,000% increase in searches
Wow.
compared to the year before.
Okay.
Think of it like this. It's not just what was trending.
Right.
It's what suddenly grabbed the world's attention
Right.
out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Like out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like tapping into the collective curiosity of the planet.
Yeah.
You can see the moments where something sparked a global conversation, a sudden need to know more.
And we're not just looking at the overall top searches.
Okay.
This deep dive gets even cooler because we're breaking it down by categories.
Right.
People passings, actors, musicians, and athletes.
Right.
I gotta say, seeing it laid out like this, there are some seriously fascinating patterns.
I bet. That's where the real insights come in. And we'll be examining these categories through a gender lens, too.
Right.
Which adds another layer of complexity to understanding who captures the world's attention and why.
All right, so let's jump right in with people.
Okay.
The list is a wild mix of politicians, athletes, entertainment figures. It's like a snapshot of who mattered in 2024.
Interesting.
I was surprised to see Donald Trump and Catherine, Princess of Wales,
Uh-huh.
right alongside Mike Tyson and Simone Biles. It's quite a range.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a big range.
Quite a range.
Yeah.
What's striking is the sheer dominance of American political figures.
Yeah.
Trump, of course, but also Kamala Harris, Joe Biden,
Right.
even J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, why are people all over the world so invested in U.S. politics?
Right.
What does it say about the perceived global impact of what happens in America?
It's like everyone's watching the U.S. wondering what's going to unfold next.
Yeah.
And then you've got someone like Catherine, Princess of Wales in the mix.
Right.
It seems no matter how modern the world gets, that fascination with royalty just doesn't fade.
It's true, royalty represents a certain kind of power and tradition,
Yeah.
and it seems that still holds a certain allure for people globally.
For sure.
Now, one positive thing to note is that in this people category, the split between men and women is almost equal.
Okay, that's good.
Unfortunately, as we'll see, that balance doesn't hold up across the board.
Okay,
No.
so let's move on to passings, which is always a bit of a somber category. We've got names like Liam Payne, Toby Keith, Shannon Doherty, and even Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball.
Wow.
It really makes you reflect on the variety of people who leave a mark on the world.
It's a reminder of how diverse human achievement can be.
Right.
But there's a noticeable trend here. The vast majority of these breakout searches are for men.
Okay.
This isn't random. It likely reflects who's historically held positions of power and influence in fields like music, acting, and even politics.
That's a really good point. I mean, just thinking about Akira Toriyama,
Yeah.
his passing wasn't just about mourning a person. It was almost like mourning a whole part of childhood
Right.
for a generation who grew up with Dragon Ball.
Exactly. It highlights the impact creatives can have.
Right.
And in Toriyama's case, it shows how anime and manga have transcended cultural boundaries
Yeah.
to become truly global phenomena.
For sure. Okay, shifting gears to actors.
Okay.
It's interesting to see, this is where we start to see more of a global mix.
Mhm.
You've got Hollywood names like Cat Williams and Adam Brody,
Yeah.
but then also people like Pawan Kalyan from the Telugu film industry in India,
Interesting.
and Ella Purnell breaking out in big Hollywood productions.
And notably more women than men.
Really?
In the actors category, it seems the scales are tipping,
Oh.
possibly reflecting the increasing prominence of women in film, television, and streaming. It's a potential indicator of a shift in both on-screen representation and audience interest.
Right. Before we jump to musicians, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What do you make of the fact that in these first three categories, it's almost like each one gets progressively more globally diverse?
Okay.
First, very U.S.-centric,
Yeah.
then a bit broader.
Right.
Now with actors, we're seeing names from all over.
That's a really sharp observation.
Yeah.
And it could speak to the nature of these fields themselves.
Okay.
Politics, at least at the highest levels,
Yeah.
is still very much rooted in national boundaries.
Okay.
Passings might be skewed by how news of someone's death travels,
Yeah.
often more locally at first.
Right.
But with actors, especially in the age of global streaming,
Yeah.
their work reaches audiences much more widely right from the start.
It's like the way we consume entertainment is outpacing some of these older systems
Right.
of who gets attention and why.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if this pattern continues
Yeah.
as we dive into the world of music and sports next.
For sure.
Okay.
All right.
So, yeah. All right, let's get into musicians because this list is a real mix of
Right.
genres and generations.
You've got big names like Diddy and Usher holding it down.
Right.
But then Linkin Park and Tracy Chapman also had huge spikes in searches.
Interesting.
What do you think is driving that resurgence of interest in artists who've been around for a while?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nostalgia definitely plays a part,
Mm-hmm.
but it could also be that their music resonates with what's happening in the world right now. Maybe there's a new generation discovering their music.
Yeah.
Or perhaps their older songs are finding new meaning in the context of current events.
Yeah, like their music taps into something timeless that people connect with across generations.
Yeah.
Look at the athletes category. Mike Tyson is right there alongside him. It's like these two figures from completely different generations and backgrounds are both capturing the public's attention in a way that wouldn't have been possible even a few years ago.
You've got a point. Tyson's enduring presence, even decades after his prime, speaks volumes about his impact on the sport and his status as a cultural icon.
For sure.
It's almost as if he transcends boxing itself, becoming a larger-than-life figure whose name holds a certain power.
But even with those big names, it's impossible to ignore the gender disparity in the athletes category. We've got Simone Biles and Imani Khelif representing, but overall it's heavily skewed towards men. Why do you think that gap persists, even with women making incredible strides in sports?
Historically, media coverage has overwhelmingly focused on men's sports. While we're seeing positive changes, it takes time to shift those deeply ingrained patterns and create equal visibility for female athletes.
And it's not just about visibility. Think about Simone Biles.
Yeah.
Her impact goes way beyond her incredible skills as a gymnast.
Right.
She sparked crucial conversations about mental health and the immense pressure athletes face. That takes a lot of courage and has a ripple effect far beyond the world of sports.
Absolutely. Biles' willingness to speak openly about her struggles has resonated with people around the world. It's a powerful reminder that even those at the top face challenges, and talking about those challenges can be a catalyst for positive change.
It's a testament to how athletes can use their platform to advocate for important issues and make a real difference. And it makes you wonder, looking at these breakout searches as a whole, are we seeing a shift in what we value as a global society?
It's an interesting question. We've got these traditional markers of success, political power, athletic achievement, but then you've got figures like Jake Paul who represent a new kind of influence. It's almost like the definition of success itself is evolving in real time.
And what about the global aspect? In the first part of our deep dive, we talked about how the categories seem to get more globally diverse as we went along. Does that pattern hold up with musicians and athletes?
To some extent, yes. Music has always been a global language, and with streaming services making music from all over the world accessible,
Right.
it's no surprise to see that diversity reflected in the breakout searches. As for athletes, it's a bit more mixed. Certain sports have a more global reach than others,
Right.
and media coverage still plays a role in shaping who gains international recognition.
It's like we're getting glimpses of a world that's becoming more interconnected, where talent and influence can emerge from anywhere, but where certain historical biases and structures still hold sway.
That's a great way to put it. These breakout searches are like pieces of a puzzle. And as we put them together, we start to see a picture of a world in transition grappling with its past while simultaneously shaping its future.
All right, before we get too philosophical, let's get back to the data. As we wrap up this second part of our deep dive, what stands out to you as the most surprising or significant trend we've uncovered so far?
Yeah, that is a great question
It really is.
to ponder. As we wrap up this deep dive into the breakout searches of 2024, I keep coming back to that idea of a world in transition.
Yeah.
We've seen hints of a more globally connected landscape, a blurring of lines between traditional media and online platforms, but also those persistent reminders of inequalities that still need to be addressed.
And don't forget the sheer diversity of human interests these searches represent.
Yeah.
From political figures and global events to musicians, actors, athletes, and even those we've lost. It's a fascinating tapestry of what captured our collective attention.
It makes you realize that even in a world overloaded with information, we're still driven by that basic human desire to know more. Yeah.
To understand the world around us.
Right.
And I think that's something worth celebrating.
Absolutely. It reminds us that every single search, whether for a major political figure or a beloved cartoon creator, represents an individual's curiosity, a moment of wanting to connect with something larger than themselves.
We've talked a lot about the big names and global trends, but it's those individual sparks of curiosity that make up the data.
Right.
And when you zoom out and see them all together, it's like you're seeing a map of the human experience in 2024.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it makes you wonder, what will that map look like in the years to come?
Yeah.
What new trends will emerge?
Right.
What will capture our imaginations and drive our searches?
Those are questions we'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I hope this deep dive has given you a new perspective on how we can use data to understand the world around us, to see the big picture, while still appreciating the individual stories that make it up.
It's been a fascinating journey. And for anyone listening, I'd encourage you to explore Google Trends for yourself. See what insights you can uncover about the year that was, and maybe even about yourself.
And who knows, maybe your own search will be part of next year's breakout trends. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.